Is it light here? Hey everybody, welcome to my weekly chat. I'm actually in a cafe. Let me move so I can actually better see me. So, this is better. There we go. Welcome. So, welcome. Bobby Umar here, and hopefully you guys can hear me. My name is, I mentioned Bobby Umar. I'm a four-time TEDx speaker, one of Inc. Magazine's top 100 leadership speakers. And today I'm going to do my weekly Periscope with Seopa, Seize Your Passion, where I talk about a topic dealing with seizing your passion, entrepreneurship, career, leadership, you name it. And you guys get to be part of this, and you comment below and you share your stuff, and I'm going to help you out. Today's topic is courageous conversations, how to have courageous conversations. Now, you know, this is something we all have to do at some point in our lives. I mean, I'm sure you all had courageous conversations. I mean, you may have them at work. So, for example, telling your boss about something that he did or she did that really, really upset you, or talking to your parents about, gee, I want to quit school, I want to quit my job, or I need money, or something like that, or even talking to your children about something that they did that is concerning you. So these are courageous conversations. They don't happen every day, but they're important that we try to plan for them because we need to have them. I mean, for the most part, there are things that hold us back from progressing in our lives and doing what we really want to do. So anyways, I'll get into that. I'm going to talk about 5 main points, but for the most part, tell me where you're from. I'm from Toronto, Canada, home of the Blue Jays and the Raptors. And let me know where you're from below. If you have any questions, you can also put them there, comments, questions, put them below, and we'll address them. You can also visit all the video streams that we've been doing for the past year at seopa.com/stream. And so let's get into it. So the first thing, and again, just let's define courageous conversations. A courageous conversation is basically an important conversation you need to have with someone that you've kind of been dreading, that you are unsure how to do it, but if you don't do it, you're either going to stall some aspect of your life, or it's going to be more painful moving forward. So, if you don't know whether a courageous conversation is needed, just imagine not having a courageous conversation. So if it doesn't happen, what happens? Are you going to feel more stressed, more overwhelmed, more upset, or are you going to feel good about what's going on? So the first thing to having a courageous conversation, and I gave you some examples already, right? Talking to your parents, your boss, your spouse. Excuse me. I actually had a courageous conversation with my wife, honestly, just like 2 months ago, where we talked about our finances, because most couples, the biggest reason couples break up is because because of communication, finances, sex, or division of labor. And we were not talking about our finances. And I was like, let's talk about our finances. Let's have a plan. And so it was a tough conversation. And some of the tips that happened there, I actually, okay, you had one yesterday. What was it about? It's good. I'm glad you had one. Yeah, it's such a relief when I finally talked about our finances. All of a sudden, this weight was lifted. It felt so good. Yeah, finances, right? I know it's one of the hardest things to talk about, especially with a spouse or your parents or whatnot. So yeah. I had that conversation, but it really, really helped. So the first thing when it comes to courageous conversation is, number one, you have to plan for it. So you got to really plan for the conversation. So like I had thought about what I wanted to say to my wife. I had booked the time. So, but part of it is planning for it in your mindset. Like, this needs to get done. I would write down all of the points I wanted to make, so it's very well organized in my head, but also on paper. I really understood why I need to do it, because if I didn't, X, Y, Z would happen, and that was actually a really important thing. Now, again, if you're liking this, please tap, double tap, triple tap the hearts, share this on Twitter, share this on Facebook. Let's get people part of this conversation, because we're trying to help people have courageous conversations. So you want to try to imagine what's the end result, like having had the conversation. Thank you for the heart, appreciate it. What's the end result? How will you feel after having had the conversation? What do you want to happen? So when you think about those things, or what if you don't have the conversation? How's it going to feel? What's going to happen? So when you think about all that stuff, that's how you start planning for it. You plan your mindset, but you write it down, and you book the time and make sure you have a plan for what you want to do, as opposed to just haphazardly having a random conversation. That's the first thing, okay? The second thing you want to do is you want to give the person a heads up. So I told my wife, I said, listen, I really would love to, we need to have a conversation about our finances. Is that okay? Can we do something next week? And it didn't happen because she was like a little bit stressed out, but it happened a month later, but we finally did it. I followed up and we finally did it, and we booked it. So If you have a boss that you have conflict with, you say, hey, boss, listen, I really want to have a conversation about it. Can we book some time? I think about 30 minutes will do. And you just say, I need to have a really important conversation with you. So you really set that up, and it also gives them a little bit of heads up to not be so defensive, not to be on their toes with their their back hairs up and things like that. So that way, so when you actually have a conversation, it's more easy to kind of put on the table and just have that discussion. Or even better, they'll say, hey, okay, so what's on your mind? Tell me. And when they say that, that actually is a great way to make the conversation even better, right? So that's the second thing. So give them a heads up. Don't just spring it on them. The third thing, and this is a hard one, you need to maintain control. You have to control the conversation. You have to own the conversation. Don't let them navigate and manage the conversation. By all means, you can ask them questions. You can see what they have to say about things, but you don't want them to control it, because if they take control of it, it'll stress you out. If they take control of it, they may veer it in a way you didn't want as part of your original plan. So you want to make sure you're owning it. So usually what I'll do is I'll say, hey, so here's kind of the agenda. I'm going to give you some background to what's going on, and then a couple things that I've been thinking. And then after I've done that, I'll give you kind of my thoughts on where I want to move next. And then I'd love to invite you to give me your thoughts on what you think of the situation. And by setting that agenda, I'm already giving them they now know that they're going to be able to have a chance to talk. Okay, so you basically set that agenda and you let them know. And if it veers away, you say, listen, I want to get back to the main crux of the conversation because I want to be mindful of your time. And thanks for the heart. I want to be mindful of your time. I want to be mindful of the agenda. I really want to get this done in 30 minutes or half an hour, whatever time you allotted. So again, you're showing respect and being polite, being professional, and making sure it happens. So you want to make sure you own the conversation. So that's the first week. First week, you got to plan for it in terms of mindset, writing it down, what you want to say, what you want to get out of it. Number 2, give them a heads up. Number 3, control and own the conversation. The fourth one is, this is kind of an important one, breathe. Because you may want to breathe well before the conversation. You may want to breathe right before you start. You may want to breathe in between. But breathing, just honestly, because it's so, like, you'll feel this tightness in your chest and your head will be like, and just breathing. Breathing will help you, and even say, listen, and you take a deep breath. And what you're doing is you're telling the person, this is really important to me, and they'll start to, as long as they're not a terrible person or a jerk, they'll have some empathy and they'll want to listen to you. So that to me is another important thing you're going to go do. All right? So you just breathe. Breathe calms your mind. Breathe helps you focus. Breathe helps you realize you can get through this. And then finally, the fifth thing is you need to have a clear next steps and follow-ups and action plan. What exactly is the plan? What do you want to do after this? So is there an action plan? So like, for example, my wife, I was like, okay, so our plan is we're going to review our budgets and I'm going to go through our finances with her, and that was the plan. And then you just follow up, like, and even if it's like some sort of casual conversation, like an emotional one with your partner about your marriage or your relationship, or with your boss, it's good to follow up and say, listen, so just checking in, how are we doing? How are we doing? And open up to them. What do you think? How are we doing? How are you feeling? I want to check in on this to make sure it's good. Yeah, having a conversation. I mean, having a courageous conversation with yourself. Well, I think that's what the whole planning mindset piece is, right? I mean, yes, you need to really take the time to, investing in understanding who you are, where you want to be. That's what personal branding and what I'm big on, right? Having that conversation about who you are, what you want to be, what you believe in, but also going back to the mindset piece. I mean, yes, we're trying to figure out what is it I want, what's my objective, why am I feeling this way, what am I hoping to get out of it. So for me, yeah, that's a really important piece. But you want to make sure you have those next steps, because if you don't have those next steps, you may feel that you left something hanging, or maybe you thought of something and that wasn't addressed, and so now because you have the follow-up planned, you'll be willing to bring that up. Now that I have had this financial conversation with my wife, I'm now able to bring up other financial aspects that I haven't talked about before, in terms of, hey, what are we doing for our investment for our kids, education, and things like that, or what about our taxes? And it's great. Like it's a huge relief. So the 5 things you want to do when it comes to courageous conversation. Number 1, plan for it. Mindset, write it down. Think of the end result. What are you hoping to get out of it? Number 2, give them a heads up in advance. Number 3, control and own the conversation. Don't let them veer the conversation away from what you want to do. Number 4, breathe, take a deep breath, focus, relax. Number 5, have clear next steps and action plans. And if you have that, then those courageous conversations might become more frequent, more easy to do, and more beneficial to your life. So I hope you like this. I hope you like the content. Again, if you have any other ideas, comment below. Tell me where you're from. Share some thoughts. Share some questions. Thank you. Thanks, Kelly. It's great. Love the hearts. Love the hearts. Keep it up. You can always tweet me at Rehan Bobby. You can also send me questions via Q4BobbyU hashtag. I'm always posting on Twitter. I also post on Facebook daily. On my website's rayallen.com. You can also check out my previous videos and stuff at seopa.com/stream. And we'd love to hear your thoughts on your videos. All right, so I'll be here every week, 11:45 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for my weekly Seopa chat. I can't wait to see you guys again. Have yourselves an amazing day.